In the Cold War's shadow, over $1 billion were spent training Dolphins, an attempt to gain an underwater edge over the Soviets. These weren't just marine life, they were weapon systems. Both the USA and Soviet Union classified Dolphins as such, a pretty wild concept. They use echolocation, pinging sounds up to 120 kilohertz to map the deep, seeing the world through acoustics. Training happened in secret, like at the U.S. Navy Marine Mammal program in San Diego, which began in 1960. These aquatic commandos could dive 500 meters, far surpassing human divers. The ocean became their battlefield, where trained Dolphins faced off against clandestine technology. Who knew cetaceans were the new arms race? Their missions included mine detection, equipment recovery, and base guarding, all requiring extreme precision. That special fatty melon on their head? It's a biological acoustic lens still baffling scientists today. Sound travels 4.5 times faster underwater, offering an alien sensory advantage. The Soviets matched this with their own Sevastopol facility in Ukraine. It was a full-blown underwater arms race by the 1970s. Picture a dog, but instead of chasing mailmen, it hunts enemy divers. Their skin feels pressure changes, detecting threats without direct contact. We hear up to 20 kilohertz. They can perceive sounds up to 160 kilohertz. Imagine your world suddenly filled with noises beyond your comprehension. The sheer scale of investment from 1960 to the late 1980s is staggering. This covert training was a desperate gambit for global dominance. What secrets do the deep waters still hold? Imagine a sonar 10 times more sensitive than early human technology. The US Navy knew this fast. A dolphin's natural senses blew their best gear out of the water. You can barely see your own toes submerged, but a dolphin? It maps the seafloor like a satellite, spotting a golf ball-sized object 120 meters away, even in total murk. Your best dive light barely cuts 5 meters, and it's just a fuzzy glow. But dolphins weren't just seeing things. They were reading their material and shape, like identifying every ingredient in soup, blindfolded just by sound. It's just wild. Their brains were also freakishly large, weighing up to 1.6 kilograms, second only to us mammals in relative size. An organ built for serious processing. And the adaptability. They picked up complex multi-step tasks with alarming speed. These aren't just smart animals, they're biological supercomputers. Bottlenose dolphins can live 40 to 60 years in the wild, meaning a serious investment in training. We're talking a long operational lifespan. Could human tech ever match this biological precision? Even today, passive sonar struggles to equal a dolphin's granular target identification. Their sonar pulses hit 1.5 kilometers per second underwater, way faster than sound in air. Essential. To pinpoint a mine, a dolphin fires up to 700 clicks a second, building a detailed acoustic map. Each ear works solo, letting them process sounds from everywhere at once. Your stereo hearing? Totally basic. Training started in 1960 at Point Mugu, California, teaching them to tag different target shapes. Their problem-solving was so sharp, they learned new commands in just 10 tries. Toddlers take hundreds, and frankly, so do I with IKEA. For 30 years, the Soviet Union secretly deployed underwater soldiers, a fact that still sends a shiver down your spine. Driven by a deep-seated paranoia and the undeniable importance of naval power, the Soviets weren't about to be outdone. While the West was busy training dolphins, the USSR quietly launched its own aquatic arms race, building a massive, top-secret marine mammal program. Their main training facility, opened in 1965, became a hive of activity in Sevastopol, smack in the middle of the Black Sea Fleet's turf. These marine recruits weren't just for show. Reports suggest Soviet dolphins were actually used during nuclear submarine patrols and even in counter-insurgency missions off Vietnam's coast. Imagine that, a silent war playing out underwater, with sonar pings instead of bullets. Soviet handlers even explored offensive roles, training dolphins to carry up to 20 kilograms of gear. To put that in perspective, 20 kilos is like hauling around 2 large bags of dog food, easily. At its zenith, the Soviet program boasted over 150 Dolphins, supported by a team of hundreds of trainers and researchers. Yes, that's the actual number. These operations were held under extreme wraps, with defectors only revealing the program to the West in the late 1980s. Dolphins are equipped with incredibly advanced biological sonar, operating at frequencies from 20 to 180 kilohertz, giving them sharp underwater vision. It's like having built-in radar, way better than any human diver. From its 1965 start until 1991, the Soviet program produced operatives for 26 years. That's about a third of a typical military career. And you have to think about the ethics. Intelligent animals drafted into war, their loyalty bought with fish and intense training. "95% accuracy, that's the success rate Dolphins achieved in distinguishing friend from foe underwater. Transforming these wild creatures into disciplined operatives required revolutionary training methods that blurred the lines between human and animal cooperation. It was like asking your cat to defuse a bomb, but with more clicks and whistles. Trainers used acoustic cues and rewards, coaxing these intelligent beings into becoming living sonar systems. America's MK6 program, for instance, trained Dolphins to covertly attach a clamp with a high explosive charge directly onto enemy ships or swimmers. Think about it. A Dolphin's top speed is 22 miles per hour, letting them intercept a human combat swimmer over 6 times faster than they could flee. The U.S. program operated in Cam Ranh Bay during the Vietnam War, using 5 Dolphins to guard anchored ships against saboteurs in murky harbors with near-zero visibility. These cetacean Sentinels performed search tasks at depths of 165 feet, withstanding 5 times the atmospheric pressure you feel right now. This is like asking a bomb disposal expert to work their shift, while also playing fetch and expecting a fishy treat afterward. It genuinely felt like working with alien technology, as one researcher admitted. "We don't fully understand how their signal processing works. It's basically alien technology." By 1975, the Soviet Black Sea Fleet boasted a fully operational combat unit of Dolphins based near Sevastopol, reportedly including elimination missions. These aquatic soldiers could detect a 3-inch metal sphere from over 370 feet away, roughly the length of an American football field. One trainer lived in constant, low-grade terror of a dolphin having an off day and tagging the wrong boat with an explosive. Creepy, right? Over $1 billion in inflation-adjusted cash poured into training funds as underwater commandos by both the US and Soviets. These weren't small projects. They were massive budget-busting operations. By 1970, the US Navy's program alone ate up $14 million, which translates to over $110 million today. And one fully trained military Dolphin? That cost between $2 and $3 million. Seriously, that's more than 3 cutting-edge Tomahawk cruise missiles. It's as if a nation decided its entire R&D budget was for a hyper-intelligent goldfish. The payoff, though? Pretty debatable. No Dolphin is officially confirmed to have ever taken down an enemy. And what happens when your $3 million asset just decides to ghost you? At least 6 US Navy Dolphins went AWOL during their service. Nature just said nope. When the Soviet Union imploded in 1991, their program's funding vanished like a desert mirage. Their remaining killer Dolphins, a truly bizarre footnote, were sold to Iran in 2000. At its peak, the U.S. Navy Marine Mammal program had over 100 dolphins and sea lions. That's more than most major aquariums. Handlers formed deep connections, yet had to send them out with a grim 50% chance of not coming back. Imagine that burden for your Labrador. The U.S. program persists, now costing around $28 million annually, focusing on mine detection and harbor security. Ultimately, both superpowers spent billions weaponizing Earth's smartest animals, only to find you can't program loyalty into pure genius. "30 years after the Berlin Wall crumbled, some of the most advanced underwater weapons ever conceived are still around. A legacy from 30 zeros and classified missions. As the Cold War thawed, these extraordinary animals started shifting roles, moving from direct conflict to more defensive and humanitarian tasks. The days of Dolphin-mounted torpedoes and mine detection for battlefield clearance at 10 miles ended by the early 1990s. The U.S. Navy's program, which had trained over 200 Dolphins, changed its focus. By 2001, these cetacean soldiers were learning to guard naval bases, spotting unauthorized swimmers, or submerged threats with unsettling accuracy, a huge shift from their offensive beginnings. It's a bit like your local police suddenly outsourcing patrols to trained otters, isn't it? Soviet assets, once used for daring underwater sabotage near Cuba, were often sold off. In one notable 1992 deal, 30 Ukrainian Navy Dolphins went to private aquariums in Turkey for an unstated amount. This raised an ethical question. Were these highly trained creatures just commodities, or individuals deserving of retirement? By 2010, these programs, now known worldwide, focused mainly on mine countermeasures, port security, and even search and rescue, with the U.S. Marine Mammal program spearheading the effort. Consider the explosive detection missions in the Persian Gulf before 2015. Without Dolphin help, those operations would have been significantly slower and riskier for humans, costing an estimated $100 million more each year in risk mitigation. Nature offered solutions. The real question is, are we using these intelligent beings with their complex social lives and capacity for empathy ethically, or are we just writing a new chapter of history, one more mission at a time? It's a debate that continues like the endless horizon.